Okay. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to our call, Defying All Odds. Tonight, we have a very special health chat for you in this February of 2022 and Heart Health Month. And I'm going to ask Richard Beers to say a few words right out of the box because he had a special message he wanted to start at the top of the call. So I'm going to turn it right over to you, Richard, before we get started.
Thanks. Pam Carey doesn't like surprises, so a few minutes ago I told her I wanted to start first, and of course she got very nervous. But before we begin, I want you all to know how much I appreciate what Pam has done for devoting all these hours of time to prepare these slides, which hasn't been easy. And in the middle of all this, she became a new grandmother in the middle of the final presentation push. How's that for a pun, right?
The push.
Anyway,
Oh my gosh.
congratulations, Pam. And tonight, I'm going to tell you a health story tonight. And telling a health story is one of the hardest things to do unless someone you've loved has had a major event. Why? It's because if you haven't had one in your life or had a loved one, it's difficult to understand how life can come to an abrupt end or change in a matter of minutes. And that's why I couldn't wrap my head around the severity of my heart blockage when my cardiologist told me I could live for a few hours, or a few days, or a few weeks, but not months. So, you've all heard about heart disease, and we're going to hear some more details about it. But um, heart disease represents the huge majority of deaths in the industrial world. And I didn't have any of those symptoms on October 3rd in the afternoon. I had a little itch on my shoulder, and I thought maybe I had some pneumonia. And yet, within 24 hours, I was scheduled for emergency surgery. So I just want you to know that this is really important for both Pam and me. And we really mean that. We really hope that you will get a great benefit out of what you're going to hear tonight. Thanks.
And share this with the people that you know, because heart disease is the number one killer in the United States, and it's nothing to mess around with. So I'm glad to be your friend, Richard. Okay. If you were invited to this call, you were invited by somebody who has a wellness business, most likely. And we wellness business owners are partnered with a company by the name of Shackley. And if you know about Shackley, you know the good news about Shackley, and you've been privileged to use some of their products, and hopefully have those products have helped you move the needle on your business, on your health and your life and the people around you. And if you don't know about Shackley, I want to give you a quick little cross section, a little peek into what Shackley is as a company. And Shackley started in 1956, so they just celebrated their 65th anniversary last year. But Dr. Shackley started the company in 1956, and he created the first multivitamin way before that. And the word vitamin wasn't even in the dictionary. It stands for vitalized minerals. And then in 1960, Shackley created the first organic, non toxic, biodegradable cleaner called Basic H. Many of you may have known that. One of the most regular things that people say when they hear Shackley is they're like, oh, do they have like an H something H? My grandmother used to use that somehow, some cleaner or something. They all know about the blue Basic H. It's like the most amazing thing. But that product went on to become the official Earth Day product in 1990. And then again in 1961, Shackley created the first plant protein isolate and started the whole plant vegetarian food protein industry. And that's really amazing history there. Shackley also became in 2000 the first company on the planet to be certified carbon neutral, meaning they leave zero footprint on our planet. And the cool thing is they've achieved that every year since then. So just stewards of the environment, that's what Shackley's all about. They're rich in awards and fun facts. They've been on every NASA mission. Shackley products have been on every NASA mission since 1993. Over 70 patents and patents pending on their products. Rich in science, proven, tested, published studies, 151 Olympic medals. Now we're in the Olympics in Beijing. Shackley powered athletes have earned 151 Olympic medals and soon to be more in February. And these studies, over 142 peer-reviewed, third-party, double-blind, placebo-controlled. That's a lot of work right there in those adjectives of the products to prove that they do work, to share the Shackley difference, to um, ensure products that are different. We call it the Shackley difference. There's not a lot of regulation in the supplement industry, and a lot of brands have product recalls, different companies, things that are in products that we don't want to be putting in our bodies always. But you won't find that with Shackley. The landmark study is a very important study we're going to talk about in a little bit. And all Shackley products are non-GMO and 100% guaranteed. So if you're not familiar with Shackley, I want you to know that you're coming alongside a company with the highest quality products available, and they will change your life. I can promise you that. So let's jump into the topic at hand. And the number one death cause of death in the United States is heart health. And I've flagged 4 areas here on this graph, and this is from 2019, as you see, 2019 and 2018. And it's done that way. This graph was chosen intentionally. These heart disease, chronic lower respiratory disease, stroke, and diabetes all factor into heart disease. So if you add those numbers all up, you'll see by far and away it is the leading cause of death in the United States. But what rings true here for this, and why I love this so much, is I want to make the point that since 2019, this was a situation before we had a global pandemic, and we know what's been going on since we've had a global pandemic. And statistics show that we are less healthy than we were in 2019. We have all experienced, or many of us have experienced, weight gain, more sedentary lifestyle, an increase of food that's not good for us, an increase in the use of alcohol or consumption of alcohol, an increase in our stress levels. And the purpose of tonight is really to raise our awareness about what we can do. Certainly exercise is good, and meditation, and cleaning up our diets, and reducing the bad things like alcohol and drugs and things that help us feel better sometimes. But we can do something from the diet and supplement perspective, and that's where we're going to focus and dial in a little bit tonight. So I think now more than ever, I've become so passionate from my research that I've done this week about the need to pay attention, as Richard said early on here, the myocarditis, the stuff, the heart damage that many of us are suffering right now and don't even know it. And I think that's coming. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but we got to take some action, and we can. And it's really cool that we do have options. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about that tonight. So I'm going to throw it back to Richard, and he's going to tell you his story of what life was like
Yeah.
in the corporate world for you, Richard.
Yeah. So I grew up expecting that I was going to be a corporate executive, and I went down that pathway. I didn't. I spent 30 years in corporate life, most of it in the consulting business, but also as a corporate officer for American Express for a few years. And that's a very fast pace, especially in the consulting business, stressful lifestyle where I was home for 36 to 48 hours every week, sometimes less. And so we were always on. I mean, when I woke up on Saturday morning at home, I had to get to the bank, to the dry cleaner, and back in those days, you could buy you got a plane ticket from a travel agent. So I had to get all those things done by noon. So it was always, what's the next step? What's the next step? We didn't have any history of heart disease, and I didn't have any health concerns, but living always on does get you tired and that sort of thing. I'm married to Kay, who's a nurse, and who got to learn about Shackley products from Barb. Thank you very much, Barb, for asking the question, how do you feel today? Because it made a difference in our lives. And we started taking a daily regimen of nutrients. So I'm kind of overweight, not a major exercise program. I didn't go to the gym in the hotels and all that, but I'm an avid sailor. So this is what my life was like when I wasn't working. It was a sailor's life for me, right? I got a chance to live the dream for really, and I still do, and I'm very glad. Over on the left, you'll see a picture of me and my younger daughter, Rachel. Mary's on the phone tonight, but Rachel is the sailor, and She just won 2 races back to back on that day. We took that picture, but you can see this is a very physical activity. It's like doing push-ups while you're going 15 to 30 miles an hour across the water. And you can see we're hanging out, and all that was really great until, as you see on the boats we sail or can tip over, I found myself putting away a boat in October, and I was having some discomfort, nothing really, I just noticed it. It was like I have an itch in my shoulder, and maybe I have pneumonia or something because I'm having trouble taking a deep breath. So went to see Kay and I went to go see the doctor. The doctor said, I'm going to dinner. Why don't you go to the ER because it's easier, faster, and you'll get more data that way. And I was ready to go to a lake committee meeting that I'm a member of. And I said, can you spin these centrifuges any faster? And then in walks my mother's cardiologist, who said, your next appointment is with an ambulance in 3 minutes. And went to Milwaukee to the heart center there. And they said, well, we're going to do an angiogram. You probably need some stents. We'll wake you up. We'll have you sign a few things and put the stents in, and you'll be good. But then they woke me up and I was on my way back to the room and I never signed anything. So the cardiologist came in and said, there's something, you've got some blockage and we need to talk a little bit. And all of a sudden, that's a picture of me, rather jowly, but life all of a sudden became sort of uncertain. So I was told, and here are the pictures, that I had a blockage in my heart. There were 2 of the arteries were at 100% blocked and 3 were at 70%. Mind you, I had no heart issues that I could tell other than this itch for a day or 2. And you'll see the picture in the middle, which that diagram came from. That's actually a picture of the, it was a movie. I wish we had the movie to show how the blood worked. But he said, there's something very unusual about your heart. And here's the issue. You have some, what they call collateral vessels that have grown around the blockages of your heart. It's called arteriogenesis. And your body has created this network of vessels to overcome the blockage that you have in your heart. He said, that's not unusual, except for your network of these collateral vessels is so massive that it looks like a New York subway map. And he said, I grew up in Manhattan. So this is what I'm telling you. This is unusual, very, very unusual. And he said, by the way we estimate how these kinds of vessels grow, we think that you have had these collateral vessels for up to 20 years. And to myself, I thought to myself, well, that's kind of interesting. I wonder why that worked. And I'm pretty sure you'll see why we say that there's a really good chance that the nutrients that I was taking helped the genetics and helped the body to create these vessels.
So into surgery you went.
Into surgery I went. I had surgery on a Tuesday, and the doctor said, by the way, it's going to take 3 to 5 hours to do this. And he says, I'm not really sure whether it's a 4-way or a 5-way yet. And I said, well, what's the difference? Thinking he was going to tell us what he would see when he gets in there. He says, the difference between a 4-way and a 5-way bypass is 12 minutes. So I knew I had the right guy. He was not a humorous guy. He was a plumber. So after surgery, I was mostly conscious during the day. The way they found out that I was conscious was in the recovery room. The first thing I remember I heard was, Richard, can you hear me? And I said, yes. I had tubes and things out of my things. She said, it says here that you're taking garlic as part of your medication. Is that true? And I said, yes. She said, well, why? And I said, well, if you don't know why, are we in a hospital where there's heart health? If you're not sure why we're not taking garlic, then you need to talk to my wife about that. And then the nurse said, yep, he's awake now. So day 1 was mostly that conscious, and I had to walk at the very beginning. And day 2, I was texting people who were, finding out how I was doing. But then day 3, I began to walk because they told me in order to get out of the hospital, I had to do 3 things. I had to walk a long way. I had to have my cough, which happens with anesthesia. And when you have a split rib cage, it's a different kind of cough. And then I also had to have something else at the other end of my digestive system. Those things had to happen in order for me to get out. So I walked. And then day 4, I ended up walking 2 miles around the nurses station. And the next day they said, we can't keep you here. You got to go home. So I was very pleased to be able to get out as fast as I could. A month after surgery, we went to go see the doctor, and on the right is the lipid panel from that meeting, and it showed some really nice results. It indicated that my situation, I had low cholesterol, I had low homocysteine levels, and the doctor said if I didn't know any better, I'd say you didn't have a heart problem, but I know you just had surgery. And I said, well, to me, it tells me something. It tells me that this is not hereditary, but it's lifestyle oriented. And I can tell you that being a consultant and being a sailor, I was no saint, that's for sure. But I had this really built-in gift because Barb Lagoni and Kay Beers got together. Kay started us on a nutrition program, a modest one at the moment. So anyway, so I was home in 5 days, and my goal was to get normal as soon as possible. So next
Thank you,
slide.
Richard. And these numbers are run parallel with what Shackley found when they did something called the landmark study. And that was conducted by Dr. Gladys Block from the UC, University of California at Berkeley. And the results of this landmark study show what happens when people take certain supplements. And it was a study done with 3 groups of people, one group that didn't take vitamins at all, that believed they could get their nutrients from the food that they ate. The second group was some people who took a multivitamin. And the third group were people who took all the letters of the alphabet for vitamins B, C, D, E, omega, um, all the things. And the average age was 53, and the behavior was going on for 20 years consistently. And because Shackley's rich history, there was a pool of people that could participate in this that were strictly taking these Shackley supplements only. And so that was really interesting. She was interested in knowing, does just taking a vitamin or extra supplements build health in the body? That's what she wanted to know. And so she asked Shackley to participate because we had this rich history. So the results from that were that the people who took no vitamins had the worst health. The people who took a multivitamin had better health, but the people who took Shackley supplements in those quantities had the best health, and in double-digit numbers in all these areas of cholesterol, triglycerides, homocysteine levels. C-reactive proteins is the beginning of degenerative disease, a measure of stress in the body. All these things related to heart health. So it's interesting that we have a real live example here with Richard. And so then, Richard, tell us. The good news continues. And he's muted. So come on, Richard.
I was pressing the space bar the wrong way. Excuse me.
Ah.
120 days after surgery, that is in February, I was sailing in a regatta in high winds. And that's, as you saw in earlier pictures, that's a big deal. Because I found out that I could recover faster than most people. You know, I kept taking my supplements before, during, and after the surgery when I was in the hospital and after that. Our family, our last name is Beers, and our family has a boat that my father and my uncle used to sail called Two Beers, a class of boat, and we would have a Two Beers for 50 years. And because of this operation that I had and this miracle that I was able to be the beneficiary of, I renamed my boat from Two Beers to Collateral Vessel.
And aren't you proud to ride that boat?
And that,
year
as
after
you
year
can
after
see,
year.
that's what we do year after year. So yeah, thanks.
That is a lovely story, Richard. And it's one of my favorite stories that I've heard in all the 25 years that I've been in the Shackley business, promoting wellness to others. And I'm just so pleased and privileged to share that with you, Richard. You're such a good friend of mine, and you are truly a walking miracle. And thanks to Shackley for that, and Kay and Barb. So making healthy food choices every single day can be hard. Look at the foods that's to the right of the screen, and how many of those have you eaten today? What have we eaten today? We eat standard American diet, which spells sad. We're the most well-fed and the most poorly nourished nation in the world, which means we have the most food that's not good for us. It's difficult, it's challenging to make good food choices. And Richard told me in our conversations this past week that oftentimes when he was on the road in corporate America, he would eat, and if he was full, he felt he was healthy because he was full. And when we feel full, we think we're healthy because we're well fed. But are we?
Right.
So that vitalizer strip there, and the previous slide, I'm sorry, that product came from the results of the landmark study. And in there are all the nutrients that you need to build health and to achieve numbers such as we looked at before with those double digit improvements in heart health. The vitalizer strip is taken daily. It comes in a formula for women, one for men, and one that is called Vitalizer Gold for those over 50, with a special enzyme CoQ10 that protects the heart muscle, that's produced in lower levels after age 35, and that's why heart disease sets in there. Um, so the Vitalizer is my favorite product. It's been around for a long time, and it just takes care of business for you. It has a smart delivery system that's patented by Shaklee, the Shaklee Micronutrient Advanced Release Technology. That means that these products get to where they belong in your body at the right place they're released. So the multivitamin is released in the stomach where you need that with your food. It's a whole food supplement. Then the B and C comes later. That red one, the Carotamax, the antioxidants and E and omega-3, that is released in your upper intestine. So you don't have that burping back and that repeating of the fish oil. Isn't that smart? That's something that a lot of people struggle with, is burping up fish oil. And then the probiotic is the live bacteria is released into your lower intestine through a triple layered encapsulation technology that's patented, preventing the good bacteria from being lost in the stomach. So this is the Shaklee difference that we talked about. And this is why Shaklee moves the needle on your health. So the smart delivery system is really phenomenal. And that vitalizer is the foundation. If you don't start on a program that includes vitalizer, if you can make room in that for your budget, I'm telling you, it's a solid foundation. Nobody wants to build a house on a beach, right? Especially when it comes to your heart. So there's a couple extra nutrients as we wrap up tonight about heart health that you really need that will serve you well in the area of prevention of heart disease and treatment of heart disease. The good thing is we have a choice in heart disease. We can treat we can build health in our body and build a healthy lifestyle and be the benefit factor of a good, healthy heart like Richard was. And the body's amazing and does amazing things when you give it the nutrients that it needs. Or we can treat heart disease with medicine and we're going to treat the symptoms. We'll always have heart disease. We can't heal from heart disease if we're treating the symptoms because we're not changing what's happening in the body. So we want to focus on that other end of the horse, right? Of building up health in our bodies through the use of good supplements. So Omega Guard is the Shaklee fish oil. It's here you can all read on the slide here what it does for your heart, but all of that is important, and that's important whether you have high blood pressure, whether you have high cholesterol or diabetes or anything. The Omega Guard is the fish oil, and it makes the blood slippery, and it helps the blood to move in and out of the arteries and veins much easier, so that our heart doesn't have to work so hard. Enzyme CoQ10 that I talked about earlier, mentioned to you, is triple strength here and more bioavailable than any other CoQ10. And it has resveratrol in it, which is the ingredient in red wine, which helps you live longer. CoQ Heart is really important. If you're on a statin drug and your doctor has not told you to supplement with a enzyme CoQ10, they're really doing you a disservice because there's, I say casually, setting you up for a heart attack because the statin drugs block the production of this important enzyme to protect your heart muscle. So that's why it's really important to have CoQ10. And in that Vitalizer Gold formulation, there is 30 milligrams of CoQ10, but we want to add a little bit of that if we're focusing on our heart health. And this is an extra 100 milligrams of CoQ10, and that extra amount is really important. So we want to be actively preventing congestive heart failure and heart attacks and things, right? So these two are the two add-ons to our vitalizer. And then whether you're struggling with blood pressure, high blood pressure, or cholesterol, high cholesterol, you can add this third product to a bundle based on your situation. The blood pressure product is another one that is not very well I don't know. I don't know if it's very well promoted always in Shackley. The better name would be arterial health, because people need to take it whether they have high blood pressure or not. And I learned that in my research this week, and my husband and I added it to our regimen of vitamins. We're in our late 50s and don't have any issues now, but I was reading about this product and I thought, man, I need to take this product because I need to have. I was really impressed when it said that it reduces inflammation of the lining of the blood vessels there at the bottom, and it relaxes the arteries, and it helps the blood not be sticky. Why do we want sticky blood going through our veins and arteries? I mean, it's just not good. So the blood pressure is recommended for you. And then the cholesterol reduction complex, statin drugs that are used to treat cholesterol are made from sterols and stanols, and Shackley created a plant-based a combination of plants that produce that are natural sterols and stanols to lower cholesterol naturally. My dad used this product. He was on a statin drug for about 6 months after a heart issue, and he had a 95% blockage in his carotid artery, and he had to get an endarterectomy and get that all that plaque and stuff cleaned out of there. And they put him on a statin drug for 6 months, and he had so much pain in his legs that he wanted to get off the statin drug. And he said to me, "What can I do? What can I do?" And I said, "Here you go, try this." And he was on that for a period of years, and I don't know, it's been 16 years now, and his cholesterol is all in check. He takes only one a day. He used to take two, but I've seen these products work for myself personally. So I just want to help everybody to look in the direction of prevention and support for your body, so you can have, if you're having an experience like Richard did, that you can show up in the hospital on the table like Richard did. And because I just, I don't know. I'm so passionate about people and what's happening nowadays. We gotta, every day's a gift. So get your vitalizer with your blood pressure regimen. 8755 is the vitalizer. It's a 30 days of vitamin strips. And then these other three products in the bundle come for an extra $91. So $180 round numbers. If you're not a Shackley member, that gives you a 15% member discount off your pricing always for the rest of your life. It's not an annual fee. You get a free membership, you get the discount, and you get free shipping. So that's awful nice. And in the cholesterol arena, we have this bundle as well, the Omega Guard, the CoQ Heart, and the cholesterol reduction complex. Again, the same pricing. So just reach out to the person who invited you here and get yourself started. If this isn't within your budget, your wellness advocate will help you find a program to start. We take 2 multivitamins a day, and that was too much for my sister, I remember. And so she took one a day because that's what she could afford. And one is better than none, Barb Lagoni told me. And so I went with that, but she's built herself into a nice program. People notice the difference when they take Shackley products soon. They do make a difference. So we want to share the good news with everybody there. And before we go tonight, I want to find my next slide. Oh, there we go. I want to have Richard talk about this little slide because this one is such a great visual.
I'll open the mic. And this is the reason why I continue to take Shackley products. Brian Jacobson and I were trained as research scientists. So was Cindy. She's on tonight. And this quote comes from the owner of the company. Shackley has the only nutritional products in the world that are clinically proven to help people live younger, longer, over 3, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 years. And many of you who are watching this tonight are a part of that group. And I just wanted to close with this. You know, you've heard about my 5-way bypass. And before my heart event, my corporate lifestyle began to limit my biology and my lifespan, but I didn't know it. After my heart event, I understand that my nutritional program was already working to counteract those limits. Before my heart event, I knew that the body could deteriorate, but I didn't know that there were options. And after my heart event, I now have proof my program rebounded my health by rebuilding my cells better. Before my health event, we had a life-saving business. And now after my heart event, I know that we have a life-enhancing business. Because here's what I like to leave you with. Someone invited you here tonight. After this meeting, ask them this question. If I were going to try an experiment for 3 months, a fundamental nutrition plan, what would that look like? That's it. Just ask that question. Talk about a 90-day test to change your brand to see what would happen to you. You have nothing, literally nothing to lose, because you see, the second best time to have started a nutrition program was 20 years ago. The right best time, the first best time is right now. Thanks.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you again for sharing your story. And I know it will be talked about in all channels starting tomorrow. So we'll see it around. We have the recording to share. And we wish all of you good health in the coming year. And reach out to the people around you, because we can all help each other to live healthier lives. So thanks, everybody. If you have questions, we can, stop the recording and